Okay, second of my COVID-19 pandemic chronology videos. Today I'm going to reflect on 22 January 2020, so January 22nd, 2020. Depending on how you write your dates, different languages, different places, different people write the dates differently. And so the day before this, so today is not this day. Today is Sunday, the 25th of September, 2022. And so I'm going back through, I saved documentation and kind of documented as I went during the beginning of especially the outbreak of the pandemic. I was writing on Wikipedia, writing and publishing on Wikipedia, I started so the 21st of January, 2020, approximately, I started Wikipedia writing, and it kind of got changed as it pretty quickly escalated in Washington State. There was the first confirmed case at the time on 21 January 2020 in Washington State, and was the first confirmed case both in Washington State and the United States of America. And so I documented, and it continued to document kind of the pandemic in different ways, in different forms, and it's affected my writing and publishing on Wikipedia and Yelp and even my YouTube videos. And so I'm just kind of going through, and there's been a lot of days in this pandemic, and so this is kind of like a concept test. Do maybe 4 of these days from the very beginning. So for the beginning for us would be, us being Washington State, would be January 21, 2020, because it was kind of immediate impacts. And then kind of maybe do 4 days and then do a day from 2021. And if the pandemic is still around by the time I get to it, maybe a recap for the day. So if today I would do a video that's real time day of, kind of, instead of reflecting on a day. And so that's kind of some of the rationale behind these videos. This is the second one. The day I'm reflecting on is 22 January 2020, and at 7:19 a.m. I got an email. It's the morning brief from the Seattle Times. We also got the Seattle Times in print, and so this was also in the print Seattle Times, so both digital and print. On 22 January 2020, the Seattle Times was publishing online and in print about the COVID-19 virus. At the time, so it was not called COVID-19 when it came to us with the first confirmed case in Washington State and the United States of America, at least at the time. The name of the virus, when it first broke out, so technically before this even became a pandemic, that was how cutting edge Washington State was. The printer is calibrating, it's chiming in. The name was Wuhan coronavirus. It was named Wuhan coronavirus because it was a coronavirus originating in Wuhan, which is in China. And so later on, people were talking about how Tokyo, Japan didn't want to host the Olympic Games because they were concerned about a strain of the coronavirus being named after them. Those fears were well-founded, reasonable, logical, and entirely based on reality, because the entire freaking COVID-19 virus started as the Wuhan coronavirus. So it was named after a location where a new strain, the first strain, currently viewed as the first strain, developed. So it was what you should know as Wuhan coronavirus shows up in Snohomish County. Now, this is very interesting because Snohomish County is about not even 2 miles north of me. So this was not only was it the first case in Washington State, not only was it the first case in the United States of America, it was the first case within this is 2 miles away, is the first person in the United States of America that has this thing. And so it was very real and immediate social impact here. The day, so 21 January 2020, we got an email at 11:15 a.m. confirming the first, reporting the first confirmed case. And I literally went downstairs, like Dad heard about it, and we were talking about it, and my aunt came and got me, my Aunt Danette, and we went to the Burke Museum, like right after we got that email, so we were all abuzz about like, did you hear about it? 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 What's this gonna be? Is this gonna be a pandemic? Also, that's like right by you guys, because she lives in Seattle, and Seattle's further south in King County than Shoreline, which is at the very northern edge of King County, bordering Snohomish County. Some people even call it Snow King because we're at the border between Snohomish and King County. So like for us, it's even closer, kind of thing. And so he was, it was a man who got it. And so by this day, it's you know, headlining the Seattle Times, January 22, 2020. It's like, it's here. We get an email. 21 January and then 22, we're all like, okay, it's here. We got one, and the person was traveling, and they were talking about more people arriving with it. It's because the people who were traveling in Wuhan and came back to this area, there might be more of those people. So we're going, people are traveling, people are bringing it back. There's gonna be more. So that was kind of like the, you know, like, you can't say, like, definitively there's going to be more, but we're like, okay, well, the reasonable conclusion is there's more people coming from where this person just came from. This person is infected. Maybe not all of them coming back are going to be infected, but, you know, a few of them might be. And so that was 22 January 2020 was essentially like, woohoo, it just blew up. Like, and yeah. And so this is Washington State Department of Health, Jay Inslee, the governor of the state and stuff. It was an immediate response. I was, I guess, reflecting on the day, I was very impressed. Right, like, the Seattle Times, you know how many people are just like, this is, like, from both sides of the aisles, just not termed it a certain thing, but just kind of discounted it, right? They didn't start publishing until March and everything was shutting down, and they're like, oh my gosh, it's the coronavirus, let's give it, or the COVID-19, or they'll come up with all these catchy phrases about it, but they didn't treat it seriously at the beginning. Washington State did. Like, as a resident of Washington State, I'm very proud of the communication from the Washington State Department of Health, the communication from the press, so like specifically the Seattle Times, which was founded and still operates in Seattle. Okay, and then that our government respond, like, it's the governor, right, of the state, and they're all here, and it's 22 January 2020, and the first case was confirmed, like, the day before, and it's just, I think there was a little bit of, like, and then there might be more cases, and so this, I would venture a guess that might be why there was this large-scale response to one case was, here comes more, or, you know, here come more people from the same area, we might be getting more, kind of thing. But there was a kind of a little bit of awe of just like, that's very impressive. They did not discount it. They did not go, this is not a big deal. They were like, let us accurately assess this and be like, is there going to be more? And I will say, that's true. Like, some places got hit, they kind of discounted it, and then they got cases, and they were like, oh crap, now we have to shut down. Washington State, like, the higher-ups in Washington State actually did a really good job of, let's approach this logically and based on reality and what could happen and might happen, and let's just act accordingly. I think Seattle, Washington State did really good at that. So it's at least as of reflecting on day 2 of this virus in Washington State and, you know, 2 miles north of me, it was like, there was a pandemic might be coming, but we got good people in charge kind of thing. So, at least in our state, because it was Washington State that was hit and 2 miles north. So that's a little bit, that's reflecting on 22 January 2020 with the COVID-19, then termed, not COVID-19, then termed Wuhan coronavirus, at least in the press. So at least in the news. It might have a different name for a different organization, but as communicated and on TV. So it was in print, online, so it was digital, it was in print, the print newspaper that we get, and it was on TV. Multiple channels. So not like just NBC, you know, it's Cairo 7 News, King 5 News. It kind of hit everything.